So next up on the Supra, I want to go ahead and test fit the turbo manifold. It bolts up on the passenger side of the cylinder head, and I've already test fitted it. You guys didn't see it yet, but I've already test fitted it, and there's one problem that we have with test fitting. The manifold we chose, all 5 of these lower exhaust manifold bolts are too long. So let me show you guys why it's too long, and let me show you the manifold that we decided to go with. Wow, look at there, boy, look at there, boy. What we have right here is the OG 2JZ turbo exhaust manifold. It's used, of course, but this manifold is twin scroll T4 divided turbo manifold. It's also known as the Trust, like in God we trust. And look how legit this manifold is. It even got a daggone serial number on it. I ain't never seen a manifold like that. As you can tell, it's already header wrapped. We got a little bit of extra header wrap. We may tighten up a few little spots like here and here. This looks like the shop cat got a hold of that. Dang, man, what in the world she laying on this mud for? All that nasty hair. Anyways, the wastegate that comes on here, once again, this is also an OG. This is like a 50 millimeter wastegate made by Trust. Greddy, there you go. That's the OG name, not HKS, but it's Greddy. But either way, this is the OG manifold. And when I say OG, some of you cats don't even remember that wastegates like this came with a square flange on it. It came with the screamer pipe. This wastegate also got adjustability as well. So I think Adam made a pretty good choice. It's stainless steel, it doesn't rust. It's made from one of the top JDM engine brands in the market. But before we could put that hotness onto this hotness, we got to extract or remove all the lower exhaust manifold studs. So let's do that. All right, Speed Ass Garage, like I mentioned before, we got to take out the lower exhaust manifold studs. Toyota did a great job by putting a star pattern on the end of that. I do not have that socket, but what I do have is 2 of the OEM exhaust manifold nuts. Let me show you how we gonna get them off. All right, Speed Addicts, this is real easy. Take one of the nuts, screw it on a little bit. Take the second nut, also screw it on. Man, where is my ratchet, dude? Oh, right here. What you want to do is hold the nut on the back side, and that ain't freaking working. Hold on, let me get another nut. All right, Speed Ass Garage, I'm back. I wasn't prepared, so let's start all over and try to do this one more again. Take you, or in my case, I took me a cheap old 14 millimeter. Like, this is one of them 14s that, like, it's not a 14. Like if 14 and a half or 13 and a half was a size, like that's what this is. It's made by Great Neck. It's got a long Great Neck. That's why I bought it, but it ain't really a 14, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work today. What you wanna do, hold that back side like that, tighten up this front nut, and what you end up doing is you like sandwiching them together. And then it's just as easy as taking that mug out just like that. And then in order to separate the 2 nuts from that stud, you basically put it in the vise, repeat the process. Then you got your 2 nuts. You take those 2 nuts and you do it 4 more times. I'll be right back. I said 5 studs, but we're supposed to have 6. So let me see if I can find the other one. There we go. That's what happened. If you work on cars, especially turbo cars on a regular, you always got at least 1 or 2 of these that's set up like this where the daggone nut is stuck on the stud. So let me see if I can get that removed. I may have to put some heat on it. You know something wrong when all of them are 14s, and this one here happens to be a daggone 15. You put it all the way in and it's touching the lower part of the exhaust manifold. So the way I'm gonna do it is you got this smooth section. The base of that is gonna stop at the cylinder head. So I'm gonna set it like so, and I think what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cut all of these in half. So let me show you how I cut these so that the nut will go back on with ease. All right, this is a simple and easy trick that somebody taught me. You take your stud, the stud that you're gonna be using, and what you wanna do is you wanna take that nut and you wanna screw that nut all the way down to the point of where you want to cut it. I'm gonna need a little help getting this thing screwed down. That's right, it's the freaking 15. All right, I'm gonna start with that. All right, so like I said, you take that nut, run that nut all the way down so that the top part of that nut is gonna be where you want to cut it. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna use the top part of that nut as like your guide to make sure you make a flat cut. Let me make this cut and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. And what that's gonna do is gonna leave like a nice little burr. Take that burr, take it over there to this right here, knock it down, or you can use a file and clean it up. All right, and check this out. Boom. No problem. Man, it's hard to tell, but like there are like two studs behind this runner and that runner on the bottom that you can't even see. And then you got the same thing on the back. It's like almost impossible to get to them. So I'm gonna make one minor modification to this exhaust manifold. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. Here I got the manifold in the vise. And what I want to do is all of these lower ones, all these lower holes, minus this front one, I want to make a notch. That way, when I put the manifold on, all I gotta do is slide it over top of it with the nut already on it. And then all I gotta do from that point is tighten up all of these nuts. So like I said, I don't think I need to do this on the front one. But like I said, what I want to do is cut out that. Cut out that. Same thing on all 5 of these. So this is one of those mechanic deals where you want something like this to be easy to work on. You don't want it to be a pain in the butt every single time you work on it. So let me go ahead and slot that and I'll cut you back on. Gotta take a little more out of that one, but that's what I'm trying to achieve. All right, hope this works. It did not work. Golly, Gritty, you suck, man. Gritty, you suck. It's made from one of the top JDM engine brands in the market. All right, I know it's gonna be a pain, but I got a solution. I'm gonna take the top studs out. That way I can slide it over top, and then I can always put the studs back in. That ain't gonna be no big deal. All right, 3rd try. Come on, man, work with me today, work with me. So close, so close. I guess that'll work. I mean, it was tight. It was tight, but I think that's gonna be the way we're gonna install this manifold. All the bolts are backed out enough where you can tell that like there's a gap in the top. That's because the bottom bolts, I got them backed all the way out to the point where they're touching the lower manifold and they need to be tightened up, but I guess that's it. That's how we're gonna have to work on it. Me having to notch the lower part of the manifold, it's funny how similar this motor is compared to the RB25, 26s and all those RBs like the one I had in my 240 at the time. So I had to do the same thing to it. It was always tough getting to them bottom bolts and I hated it. So, but that's gonna do it. All right, I just learned something. Remember how I told you I didn't have that inverted star socket? Well, check this out. A 12-point millimeter, not quarter millimeter, a daggone 12-point 1/4-inch socket actually does the job just fine. Wow! All right, Speed Addicts fam. The manifold is on. I ended up having to cut, once again, all the lower exhaust manifold studs. I want to say I cut them about halfway. And then I also had to use these different nuts. Those kind of got that flange section on the back. I like those nuts a lot better. But for like at least 4 of these, I had to use these small nuts that's got the little slit. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got that little slit. They remind me of the Honda nuts, the Honda exhaust manifold nuts that are used. But now that we got everything installed, we shouldn't have to come over here no more to mess with anything. We do have the drain fitting that we need for the bottom, and then we also need a fitting for the feed for the turbo. But since that's installed, I mean, I guess there's one other item that needs to kind of go into place. So let me go ahead and show you what that is. Now it's time to introduce one of the major and key components of Adam's build on this Supra, and that component I'm talking about is one of my most favorite modifications. No, it's not that gold tape, but it is the turbocharger. So let me introduce to you guys the turbocharger that Adam chose. Short little pass clip. Me and Adam went to World Cup finals last year. Precision happened to be out there, and while Precision was out there, they were selling their turbos, but they also had what they call remanufactured turbos. All that means is that these turbos got rebuilt by Precision themselves. There's nothing else wrong with the turbo, but it was like at least half the price, or maybe not half it, but it was a lot cheaper than it would to be if you got a brand new turbo. So of course, Adam took advantage of the opportunity and he bought one at World Cup finals last year. So let me introduce to you guys the turbo of choice. Wow! This is the Precision 6765. Open scroll T4 flange. Got the billet compressor housing with all the little bullets to help with anti-surge. You can tell from looking at the compressor blade, that's a billet blade. You can tell that because it's got all those little lines, little grooves in it. And that's kind of like the machining process of how it looks. It's got a pretty housing on it. We got a .96 turbine housing. Believe it or not, this turbo is got the same turbine housing that I had on the 240 before I sold that turbo. Then we also got a 3-inch exit. It's gonna go to the custom downpipe that I get to fabricate. So let's go ahead and mount this thing up and see what it looks like. There's 2 major things that we got to do when we install a turbo, and these 2 things that we got to do you can't compromise with. First things first, most important, is you got the oil feed and then you got the oil drain 180 degrees on the bottom side. That need to be pointing straight down. In order to do that, we got to loosen up all these bolts here and clock it. We got to take this off in order to get to that last stud anyway, so we got to make that happen. And then number 2, the air comes in here and then it compresses and then it blows out this side. So we need to make sure we get the orientation of that correct. Just looking at it, we ain't got much room. It looks like we might be able to do like a 90, maybe like a 90 with a little bit of something going up, and then it's gonna go into this section here. So let me go ahead and loosen up these bolts and take this off so that I can finish mounting this turbo to the manifold. That's what it looks like. That's the turbine blades. You got like some kind of little sleeve there. That's the center section. Oil goes in through the top, lubricates the center section, and then it drains out. So let me set this off to the side somewhere very careful where we don't damage these blades, because we damage these blades, Adam gonna kill me. All right, we got the turbine housing bolted up to the gritty exhaust manifold. So now we get to slide the turbo back in. That worked much better. Dang it, Butterfinger BBs, Butterfinger BBs. Don't you hate when you drop stuff and then you don't hear it hit the ground? Yeah, that's what happened. Butterfinger BBs. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that little snack? I don't even know, they still might even got them out. You don't like Butterfingers, you ain't American. Everybody like Butterfingers. Ran into a little issue. Thought this was 3-inch. Should have known by looking at it, but it's not. This appears to be 2.5. And then we're going from 2.5 to 3-inch, meaning that this portion of the intercooler piping that I'm gonna have to modify is gonna need to be 2.5. And out of my pile of multiple intercooler piping, clamps, boots, and whatnot, all this stuff is 3-inch. This is the only 2.5 I got. And I'm gonna need a little bit more than just this 45. So I think we might have to buy some stuff. All right, fam, I think the best solution for this is to get a 2.5-inch 90-degree black silicone coupling. Possibility I might need to cut a little bit of that off. Then I could take the welder, maybe add a little bit of a ridge on it depending on how much space we need here. But I think if I could do a 90 silicone coupling here, and then the rest of it would be aluminum 2.5 to there, I think that will work. So we're not gonna probably be knocking this out today, but we're almost ready to start fabricating. And fabricating is like my most funnest part of any build. So stick around. I think that's gonna do it for this episode. And in the meantime, once again, I got more content. We got a drift car coming to the garage that we're gonna be tampering with. So you wanna stay tuned and don't go too far. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I appreciate everybody that comes in and watches my channel. I love you. And I also love what I'm doing. Wash your hands, and we'll see you in the near future. The daggone founder of Scenic Drip, aka my boy Justin Hart, has talked me into working on that thing. So let's pull it in and we're gonna talk to you guys about what we're gonna do to it. All right, y'all remember Justin? I think I put like a little clip in one of my videos. If you didn't see that clip, I'm gonna drop it right here. But why this over here? What we doing to this thing, dude?
Well, after a whole season of drifting, it's taken some abuse, and we went up under it the other day and saw some damage that we might not have seen anyways. While we were doing a bolt check, so we're here to get up on the lift and pretty much do a new lower radiator support and get things tightened up, maybe address a few other issues while we're at it, but that's about it.
Right, and just like I said, we get to do one of my favorite things, which is fabrication. So I think what we're gonna do, probably secure this, probably make a bracket for the Mishimoto intercooler. We may or may not use this, but if we don't use this, I got a couple ideas for that. The headlights are gonna stay up, so we'll probably make some bracketry for that. Like I said, or like he said, there's some damage down here, which I'll show you guys when we get to that point. But more than likely, we're gonna get rid of that lower radiator support and probably use something like some C-channel, maybe like some round stuff, maybe some box steel. I got plenty of material sitting over there in the corner. So let's go ahead and get it up in the air and see what it look like.
This side is so fudged up.
Golly, that joker's held on by like
hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams, maybe a little bit of soy sauce. But yeah, that's what we're addressing, and dang, man. That's from, I don't know what that's from. But yeah, we're gonna see if we can get this geometry straight. But yeah, that's the damage. Got quite a few leaks, but whatever.
Race car.
Race car.
God, that's not even, look, it's not even held in.
I know, dude. Look at that custom fabrication on the hot side. For all y'all cats that don't think that'll work, I mean, he got proof that tank denting your stuff up. There ain't no restriction there. And then what else are we doing? You just bought something. Yeah, you just bought, like, this is one of the most key modifications. Matter of fact, we got
two really important things. Actually, let me go get them.
Yeah, oh, you got them?
I brought them.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll be right back. We're gonna show you one of the most important things. The second one's gonna be in the mail tomorrow. What y'all know about that right there? Wow, look at that WiseFAb. I don't know who they is, but Justin know who they is. Who WiseFAb?
WiseFAb is a company, I think they're not even based out here. And I think they're
what, Australia?
Like, not Australia, somewhere other than that. But but they do have a base here at WiseFAb USA and field suspension out in Cali. Bachis.
Who that?
He's a pro driver in Formula D who also runs field suspension. And I think they're housing with them, or they do the same warehouse, or they keep all the parts together.
Right, they work.
Or maybe he's a distributor for USA.
Yeah, maybe they work together or something.
But here we have the S14, S15 V2 kit with the rack relocation kit and bolts. I usually run 4-lug on my race car, but I had to run 5-lug in the front now because the S14 kit has a 32 millimeter hub spindle versus the stock S13 is a 30 millimeter stock spindle. And
you're talking about this section right here?
That's the section right there.
Okay, so that section is a little bit bigger.
That's a little bigger on the S14, S15. So with the kit that I got that one, so I had to get S14 5-lug setup for the front. So.
Right, and here's the front, brand new, still in the bag, still got that same juice that be coated on the rotors when you get it. Oh no, it don't got that coating on there. But either way, that's that. And then what do we got here? I mean,
those are top hats, so you can adjust your caster and camber on the car. This actually attaches directly to your coilover strut. You take the stock one off and you add this one there.
So you got the front maxed out, and then you can even go even further with that.
Yeah, you actually have to drill out spots for the adjustability because it actually goes so much farther than stock that you won't be able to adjust them if you don't. So.
Right, and let me show y'all how far this thing already is. I mean, the weight ain't even on it, but it's already super cambered. Look at the lock on that. Y'all know about that lock? No, I ain't talking about John Locke from that show that we used to watch back in the day.
Matlock?
No, John Locke. John Locke was one of the best series ever made. Lost. Yeah, it was on Lost. I mean,
never watched that.
Yeah, it was good though.
But yeah, so right here where we have the ISR Pro curved tension rods, extended LCAs, and just some cut knuckles. All that's going to be gone and be replaced with WiseFAb.
WiseFAb.
And right now I'm dealing with some issues with the power steering setup. If you can see back here.
Yeah, what you guys, all the drift boys, y'all might be all about this little setup that he got here.
This is a Volvo S40 power steering pump that I got mounted in here. Custom lines ran with JSC fittings.
Custom bag at the top.
Custom bag to keep the custom bugs out.
Yep, because we don't like custom bugs in North Kakalaki.
Ran all the way to the front. Up here, problem is I think I have a leak internally in my rack and it's pressurizing both sides. So
right.
I don't think it's working very well. So we're gonna change the new rack out to a, not remanu, but a fully rebuilt custom drift spec rack from JMS 60.
JMS 60?
Yeah, you can catch him on his Instagram.
Yep.
I think it's Sparky's Garage.
There you go.
But it's in the mail. It should be here any day now, and he's definitely taking care of me. I think they drilled out the orifices and make it flow better, which makes it run cooler and should just be better all in general and not stop blowing seals. So I'd like to see what this thing does after it's done. So
yeah, and we're just trying to get this ready for the next drift event. The COVID-19, the coronavirus. I mean, if you already know, and if you're in the car community, it's shut down like everything. I can't drag race, he can't drift, but rest assured, all that stuff is slowly coming back up. People are starting to hold stuff like private events or whatnot. Limited amount of people able to be on the tracks and whatnot. So we want to try to see if we can get this done in like a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. But we got a lot to do. It's gonna be a lot of content. It's gonna be fun. We got a bunch of fabrication. We got a bunch of high-end quality parts. And once all this stuff go in, my boy Justin been wanting me to go to a drift event. I ain't really that into that stuff, but at the same time, he's into it. So, you know, he my boy, I gotta look out for him. Plus, you know, if I'm gonna put my hands on this right here, you know what I mean? I want to see it in action, and I'm sure you guys want to see it in action too. So that's gonna conclude this video. More fabrication to come. I'll be giving you an update on the 240, and then we'll also be giving you an update on the Mark IV. So talk to you later. Check out Scenic Drift 2.